Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be fear and attachment lead to failure. I've got 3 emails that I'm going to go through with you today. But before we get into the first one, I've got a quote that I wrote in this topic that I want to share with you, and then we're going to jump right into the first guy's email and diagnose where he is going wrong. And the quote says, "When we are in a fearful state, we tend to take actions that communicate and manifest a lack of what we desire. We literally will chase lovers, friends, jobs, business partners, and good opportunities away because we essentially act and speak like we are unworthy and undeserving of what we want. When we take actions while in a fearful state, those actions tend to bring about more circumstances that are not what we desire and that cause us to be even more fearful. When we are in a peaceful and relaxed state, our actions tend to be more efficient, effective, and properly focused so as to bring about and manifest conditions that are aligned with our desires and that cause us to feel even more peaceful, balanced, and relaxed. If you are feeling fearful, uneasy, and worried about not getting what you want, it is better to let go and put off making critical decisions or actions until you once again are in a peaceful and relaxed state. If you don't, you will unconsciously sabotage your success and move yourself away from your goals and dreams." It's just amazing to me. We get a belief and we believe in something so heartily, whether that belief is accurate or not. When it's a limiting belief, we literally take actions that move us away from what we want. It's like the analogy, like when I was taking race car school years ago. It's like when you lose control of the car, and they actually simulate this in race car school, so you get to feel what it's like when you lose traction and the car starts to spin on you. They literally teach you to not look what you're trying to avoid, which obviously is the wall. And most people, when they spin out in a car, they look where they don't want to go. They look, oh, I don't want to hit the guardrail, I don't want to hit the wall, I don't want to hit that car. And what happens, without even realizing it, because they're so afraid and they're trying to avoid something, they're looking at what they're trying to avoid, they literally steer right into what they're trying to avoid and crash. And so in race car school, what they do is they teach you to look where you want to go. Even though you're spinning and you're out of control, the key is to look where you want to be, so you give the gas and you brake properly and you literally steer the car to where you want to go so you can get control of it again. It's really tough because instinctively you're like, oh my God, I don't want to crash, and you look right where you don't want to go. It's fascinating. It's a great metaphor for life as well. So let's get in the first guy's email. He says, "Hey coach, I'm going to do my best to make sure this is clear and concise as possible. So I had a girlfriend of 3 months until this past Saturday, and in the beginning I did everything picture perfect. I had contact, and then I would arrange dates, and then plus I made sure that I brought my game every time we hung out." He says, "Anyway, we'd only been dating for 2 weeks when she asked me to be exclusive. We would fuck 4 times a day when we hung out, and she was constantly complimenting me and giving me praises." So far, so good, dude. You're following everything textbook. He says, "Everything was great until one time we had been drinking a lot." I've gotten so many emails over the years from guys that everything's going along great, and they get too drunk, and they say and they do a bunch of stupid shit. He says, "I was past the point of being drunk." So you're probably blacking out. That's the thing. If you're going to go out and drink, it's like have a few glasses of wine. Don't go out, or have a few beers. Don't go out and just have one cocktail after another, because you get to the point where you get a nice little buzz, and then it's like, then you get to the point where you're just, and it's a bad fucking way to go. Because at the end of the day, you drink too much, you're losing control. That's not attractive. He says, "We were getting ready for bed, and I wanted to fuck, but she was too tired. I got really upset and got all my stuff, and I left her place." You took your toys and you went home, huh? That's real mature. In other words, you let it diminish you. And plus, you were probably a drunk, belligerent asshole. And it sounds like you drove home drunk, which obviously is not a good fucking idea. I noticed that happened to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. His mother and his cousin were actually driving, in Orlando, in Claremont, which is about 25 minutes from where I'm at right now. I guess a kid blew through. He was drunk, and then he sped away, ran through a light, and hit the Rock's mother and his cousin head on. They survived, but it's like, that's just fucking stupid shit, man. He says, the next day I apologized, and she forgave me, but some fear started to build within me. So I started initiating contact to set up plans. At that point, everything was going great. She's coming to you, and now you become fearful. It's like the race car driver. Oh my God, she may reject me. Oh my God, it may not work out. It's amazing how it just takes over. You're making decisions in a fearful state. You're thinking, oh, I got to do something. It's like you go right back to all the bad patterns that you exhibited before you found out about my work. He says, I was also setting up plans for future days when we were hanging out at that moment. So in other words, you're on one date and you're so afraid she's not going to want to see you again, you're making the next date just to make sure. Bad way to go, because women can pick up on this. And so now what's going on is you're, in essence, communicating that you don't feel like you're worthy. You're trying to control things. And I've learned in life, especially from studying Zen and the Tao, is like control is a fucking illusion. Things happen in life that you have absolutely no control over. And the reality is that everything in life is out of control. The only thing you really have control over is how you react to things. And so instead of responding to things after thinking about and contemplating things, now you're in a reactionary mode. You're the guy who's spinning out in your car and you're looking right at the wall going, I don't want to hit the wall, I don't want to hit the wall, I don't want to hit the wall. And you crash right into it. He says, even though I had done all this, she would still call me when days that we weren't hanging out because she wanted to talk to me. Remember, women fall in love slowly over time, and they fall out of love slowly over time. And so when you're thinking, hey, she's still calling me, everything's great, but yet you continue to over-pursue. And it takes weeks for the attraction level to drop to the point where, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore, comes up. He says, I didn't notice her attraction level dropping until I did the same damn thing again. Plus, I was apparently an asshole to some of her friends. So you got drunk again and got out of control. He says, I was really intoxicated that night, and a few days later we talked about it, and I apologized. So here's the thing. It's like a woman sees the pattern. It's like you did it once. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's just a one-time thing. Now here you do it again. And then again and again and again. And eventually the woman realizes you don't have any self-control. So what happens? You just keep destroying things. And eventually she gets tired of being hurt and she blows your ass off. He says, so by this time I'm doing 100% of the calling. When a guy tells me that, it's going to happen. You are going to get dumped. When you're doing 100% of the pursuing at that point, it's just a matter of time before she kicks your ass to the curb. He says, even though when we would hang out, I had a few more barriers to break through and additional tests, but I got through them, and we would still fuck like rabbits, and she would be stuck to me the whole night. So you're thinking, hey, we're still fucking, so it's okay. But what's happened is you've now become a fearful woman, if you will. An emotionally irrational and out of control woman instead of the strong, centered man that she adored and was calling and pursuing all the time. The roles of, you've completely given your power away at this point. It's like you put your balls in a box and said, here you go, baby. Why don't you be the man? He says, then about 2 weeks ago, I ended up being a dick about something else. 3 times. 3 strikes and you're out of there, dude. I want to say that I've never been violent towards a woman, and I never will be. I just had a bad attitude, probably out of fear. Remember, it's just like Master Yoda said, what is behind fear? Always anger. I say, what is behind anger? It's always fear. So since you're afraid of losing her, you really are trying to control the situation. If you ever watched the Star Wars, the second set of movies that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, like where Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader, that's what happens. He becomes in a total fearful state. He's fearful of losing Padme, that she's dying, and he wants to desperately save her life. And since he totally operates from a place of fear, what happens? He ends up causing her to have a broken heart, and literally she dies because of it. She dies shortly after childbirth. He says, I just had a bad attitude out of fear. Growing up, both my parents were abusive towards me, and I've been seeing a therapist to work on that stuff. Good for you, dude. That's awesome, and you should be doing that. He says, so fast forward to this Saturday. We're hanging out at my place, and she tells me that she can't do a relationship right now. So I told her that I wasn't going to be her game hell girlfriend, but we could fuck. So we ended up fucking twice and watching a movie. The whole time she's cuddled and laying all over me. She even paid me a few compliments. Well, I like what you did there. You just like, nah, I'm not interested in being friends. That doesn't work for me. But we can be fuck buddies. You stood up for what you wanted. You're like, hey, at least we can hang out. We don't have to be in a relationship, but I'm not interested in being friends only. So that's one thing that you've done right since you're doing things right in the beginning. You stood up for yourself. He says, so we're getting ready to leave, and I'm on top of her, and she reaches to give me a hug, but I pull back because I was hurt from earlier. She ended up leaving my place before me without saying anything. I could tell that this bothered her. So I wasn't completely upfront with her. I didn't tell her that I want a relationship and to call me if she changed her mind. Well, dude, at this point, you have been dumped. You don't go from being dumped to right back into a relationship. You just have to focus on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Again, you're all completely driven by fear and you're not thinking straight. And what would help you with this is if you started reading the book again to get back in the fundamentals. Should I send her a text telling her that? Nope, I wouldn't do that. She dumped you. He says, if so, what exactly should I say? Because I want her to know how I really feel. You pretty much told her how you felt. She friend-zoned you, in essence, and you said, I'm not down with that. We can be fuck buddies. And you fucked. So if she only wants to be a fuck buddy, guess what? You're not going to invest any time in that because you're looking for a girl to date. She gave up on you. She gave up on your relationship. Therefore, the only way you're going to spend time with her is if she reaches out to you. When she does, make a date. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Wait to hear from her. Or should I just wait to hear from her? Wait to hear from her. He says, I know I have options. I'm a really good-looking guy, and I bartend at a popular bar where I meet a lot of chicks. Honestly, I don't care about that, though. Please help. What should I say to her and not say? You got to look at it as like you hit the reset button. Wait to hear from her. Set the next date. Never talk about a relationship or getting back together. Just wait to hear from her. And when you do, make the next date. It's the best way to handle it. So let's get into the second guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, this Wednesday I was invited to a bonfire celebrating the birthday of a woman I did not know who was a friend of a woman who I did know. We never met each other officially before that night. However, we both knew of each other, and she recently got dumped by an acquaintance of mine for another girl. Sounds like a target of opportunity. He says, turns out she specifically asked for me to come to the party by name. Well, that's a good sign. That tells me she definitely likes you. I went and we kicked it off really well. 2 days later, we were both at another bonfire with the same circle of friends, and again, obvious flirting, interest, body language, etc., so I know the vibes are on. You should have gotten her number that first time, dude. You should have made a move the first time. Tells me you're afraid of what other people think, so you're holding back. That's making you look like you lack confidence because it's obvious you like her. She could tell that you like her because you're obviously focused on her and spending time with her, but then you don't follow through. Bad way to go, dude. And it's all because you're in a fearful state. He says, the thing is, the guy that dumped her was at both events with his new girlfriend. Even though he was in the background and I was in the foreground with her both nights, I didn't find it appropriate to escalate too fucking hard at the time because him and his friends were there. Bad move, dude. Who cares? He's there with his new girlfriend. But you're afraid of what may or may not happen. He says in both nights she would just disappear at the end of the night without saying anything. Probably because she got tired of waiting for you to be a man and do something about it. He says, anyways, she gave her number to my friend's girlfriend in front of me during the bonfire. So after she disappeared the second night, I perhaps drunkenly asked my friend's girlfriend to ask her if I could text her sometime. The only reason I did this is because she jetted out of the blue before I could ask her myself. Well, you hesitated and you dithered too much. Dithering makes you look weak and indecisive and unmasculine and unmanly. And I knew the following day she was headed back to her temporary residence, which was 3 hours away, and probably won't be a chance to see her again in person in the near future. She's 3 hours away, so that's not really the greatest situation. Ideally, you want somebody that's near you, and you missed the opportunity to do something about it. But hey, Sometimes really great girls come along that are long distance. I know I've had long distance relationships, women that I've dated in other countries, and after a while, unless you're going to get married and settle down, it can become a real big pain in the ass because somebody eventually is going to have to move. He says, big mistake because the girl showed me the text that she sent her. It was some drunk rambling like, hey, are you single? Because he's single. Sorry, I'm real drunk, etc. And obviously she didn't respond to that retarded text of hers. Well, if she didn't respond to that text, what does that tell me? She pretty much already made up her mind to you that you lack confidence and probably decided that because you hung out for 2 whole days and you never made a move. You just hung out and you laughed. It's obvious that you liked her, but you were holding back and acting unnatural. Remember, this girl's ex-boyfriend is there with his new girlfriend. The only person that should feel uncomfortable is her. Because here's the ex, but obviously she would sound like she's pretty together emotionally. She's pretty strong. He says, but at least it wasn't me saying it. And she didn't say I asked for her number or anything either. Although I thought it was real funny, we were all laughing about it the next morning, and a bunch of friends in the circle know about it, which could be good or bad. More than likely, it'll get back to this girl that you were inquiring about her, which will further make you look weak. And like, she's going to think, well, why didn't he ask me out? And she's going to realize he didn't ask me out because he doesn't have the confidence. So you've pretty much shot yourself in the foot by waiting around and dithering at this particular point because you were driven by your fear instead of following your heart and acting upon the... Obviously, she asked for you personally to be there, dude. What do you want her to do? Strip down in front of you and bend over and say, give it to me, big boy? Doesn't work that way. Now I know she was highly interested in me during the parties, but was the friend's girlfriend text a supreme fuck-up? I'd say no, you pretty much did that yourself by not making a move. Since I most likely won't be seeing her around town for a while, should I just get her number off somebody and hit her up out of the blue? Or should I wait it out and maybe she'll show up somewhere again, but who knows if that will ever happen or how long it will be. You got to remember, your friend already reached out and said, hey, the two of you are single, but she never responded. What does that tell me? She's probably not that interested. If she's really digging you, she'll get in touch, dude. She'll say, oh yeah, give him my number. He says she doesn't have Facebook, so that's not an option, by the way. He says, I have options and choice, so it won't be the end of the world if nothing happens with this girl. But she's really awesome. I think there's a good chance she'll respond well, even if I get her number off someone else, and I hit her up out of the blue. That looks creepy and weak when you do that. Don't do that, dude. Bottom line is, you should have done the right thing the first time around. And your friends already reached out on your behalf, and everybody in your social circle already knows that you're interested in her, but you didn't do anything about it. Best thing that I would say, just walk away. If there's any kind of interest, it'll get back to you, and then you can get the number. Because she knows that you're interested. But the bottom line is, she never responded to that text, and obviously by now you still haven't heard anything. So I would say she's probably already made her mind up about you, that you're just weak and you lack confidence. He says, because at the parties her interest and attraction was high as it gets. I should have asked for her number myself, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. What do I do now is my question. Let it go, dude. Move on. If she gets back to your friend who sent that drunk text to her, your friend, if she's a real friend, will let you know. But you've done pretty much everything you could to make yourself look weak by talking about it to everybody in your social circle, so you haven't done anything to make yourself look strong and worthy. I would do nothing, dude. Let it go. And if she responds favorably, you'll know about it and you'll hear about it. And if that's the case, then ask for the number. But if you never hear anything about her again, you never see her again, bottom line is grow a set of balls. Next time you got to make a move, dude, and not be driven by your fear. So let's get into the third and final email. This guy says, hey, Corey, I wrote you a couple of weeks ago about this girl that said I was playing games, and you replied in a video coaching newsletter called She Says I'm Playing Games. She texted me last Wednesday and wanted to know why I stopped contacting her. She wanted to, and I really like what this guy says in his email to her. She wanted to know why I backed off and walked away a couple of months ago, and I told her everything that you told me to say. I told her that she took me for granted, which I didn't like. I also didn't like that she accused me of playing games. I wanted to see her making the effort. Remember, the only way anything is going to happen if two people who have mutual interest, mutual attraction, Both make the effort. In the previous email, the girl made the effort. She put herself in your orbit and made sure that you were invited to her birthday party, and then you didn't do anything. You didn't act like a man, so he blew it. That's why he's out. He says, I also told her that at the time I wasn't going to stick around for her to make up her mind because I'm an awesome guy and I deserve somebody that appreciates me. Abso-fucking-lutely right, dude. Good for you. She said she didn't take me for granted. Yes, she did. And she just told me that at the time she wasn't feeling like before because of the times that I had hurt her. Then I told her that I walked away because I didn't want to end up being her male girlfriend. Because I wanted to see her, listen to her, touch her, kiss her, and make love to her. Awesome. You're speaking your truth. You're speaking from your heart. You're telling her what you want. He says, then the conversation took a turn. She said that we had different views about sex. She said she didn't want to have sex because sex was a very important issue for her because of her relationship with God. And she could only have sex when love was mature in the relationship. Bull fucking shit. She's already had sex with you. She's making excuses. This is how she's trying to get you. She's taken like 100 different angles to get you to cave and go, okay, yeah, we can hang out and be platonic and not touch each other. I had a family member of mine, I had talked about this in videos about a year and a half ago, who was dating a woman. Same bullshit. First she says, oh, it's the bad divorce, why we have to stop having sex, and because I'm worried about my ex using that against me in the divorce, even though in this particular state they live in, that's not an issue. Because this guy has a new girlfriend, or her ex-husband had a new girlfriend at the time. And then she threw I'm getting back into my religion. It's really important to me. And finally I was just like, man, he's like, you got to grow a fucking set of balls. And he went on, like, taking her out to lunch, taking her out to dinner, getting all dressed up, and getting a fucking peck on the cheek for 6 months, giving her money, paying her bills. Well, they're back together now. She came crawling back like 6 months later. And now they're living together. And they're hooking up and they're having sex all the time. Because he finally grew a set of balls and walked away. He said to her, he's like, this is not normal. This doesn't work for me. You know, he's older. He's in his 60s now. He's like, he finally stood up for himself and he walked away. He didn't hear from her for like 6 months. 6 or 8 months, I think it was. She got her divorce situation all resolved. And then she came back and he was like, hey, I'm not interested in just being friends. I'm not interested in getting together with you if you're just going to hold back. She started fucking his brains out again, and now they're living together. So, back to the guy's email. She also said that one time we had sex, she went along with it, but she felt bad afterwards. And look what he says. He's like, I love this. This guy's awesome. I like it when people listen to what I tell them to say, because that's what they really want. And my job as a coach is to help people get what they want. He's speaking his truth. He's living from his heart. I told her that I couldn't be in a long-distance relationship with her, and the few times we would see each other, not be able to have sex because she would purposely withhold it. Yeah, she was manipulative as well. I kind of remember this video or the previous email that I talked about. He says, I told her that it wouldn't work for me. Then she said that we had different values and also said that it was clear that I wasn't going to withhold my desire for another person. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. Good for you, man, for having a set of balls saying, no fucking way. He's saying, this is what I want. She's going, but I got this really great tasting shit burger. I put some really great seasoning and spices on it so it doesn't smell so bad and taste so bad, but it's still a shit burger. And I'm not interested in a shit burger, honey. He said, I replied that it seemed like we were not on the same page and that it would be better if we would go our separate ways. And it would be better if we didn't contact each other because I needed time to heal and forget. I wished her the best and hope she finds what she's looking for. And if she changed her mind and wanted to include lovemaking in the relationship, to let me know, because I think she's a phenomenal woman and I'd love to see where things go. She replied that she couldn't believe that I was giving up on her just because of sex. In other words, fuck you, your needs are not important, I want things all my way. And he's like, no. She then said that probably I would find a lot of girls to sleep with and that my intentions are clear and what I felt for her was far from love. In other words, she's belittling you and what you want because she's trying to get her way with you. More manipulation. I told her that I loved and adored her, but sex was one of my needs. Fucking good for you, dude. I would high five you. My only intention was being with an awesome girl who I shared goals and values with. Right there is the rub, dude. Similar goals, similar values. You want somebody who lives and speaks from their heart. Not somebody that's holding back. Not somebody that's withholding sex purposely. Fuck that shit. A man stands up for himself, and a woman for that matter, for what they want, and unless the other person can offer, they walk and never look back. You don't get what you deserve in life, only what you negotiate. A woman who I have similar goals and value with, and who I can have a healthy and loving relationship, and also a healthy sex life. Absolutely. Right fucking on, dude. So let me know if you change your mind. She then said that she never had to pay with her exes when she went out with them. Only with me she had to pay because I called her out on it. So when I said, let me know if you change your mind, it was like her telling me, let me know when you don't mind paying for my dinner. And so what was happening is like she never ever offered to pay for anything. You want a woman that's also a giver. You don't expect her to pay for everything, but like every once in a while, buy a round of drinks. Every once in a while, make me dinner. Show that you care and you appreciate it. Every once in a while, take me out to dinner or take me out somewhere nice and pay for things. Say, you know what, you always do everything and I just want to show my appreciation. It's like, I don't like anything that I've heard about this girl. She's manipulative. She uses sex as a weapon. She's not much of a giver. She's not very flexible. Thumbs down for me for her. I wouldn't give this woman the time of day. She sent another text saying that I only cared about myself and only wanted to have things my way and never give in. And then in a relationship, you have to give in sometimes. In other words, she wants it all her way. And he puts in parentheses, no one will ever do or say anything that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. You've been paying attention, my friend. You get a gold star. You know what? You can have a cookie as well. She said, let's not continue because I don't want this to end up badly. I then replied saying, it's not my fault that your exes spoiled you. You shouldn't expect a guy to pay for everything. If you like a guy, pay for him sometimes because it shows through your actions that you care and you're a giver. Fucking A, dude. You've really been paying attention. I want a healthy relationship where lovemaking is something natural and that happens in the moment you feel it. Fucking A, right on. So it's better to go our separate ways if we don't agree about this. I'm not interested in having a long-distance relationship where sex would be treated like taboo. Fucking A, dude. So if you change your mind, let me know. She didn't reply after this. She was pissed probably. Fuck her. Who cares? She's an asshole. I stood up for myself and also was clear about what I wanted. Dude, you are the fucking man of the week, dude. Good fucking job. If she ever contacts me, I'll say, did you change your mind? Did I handle this right? Dude, you did fucking awesome. Good job. I found out that passive-aggressive and narcissistic people will often use a silent treatment and also withhold sex to manipulate or punish. Yep. Why would you want anything to do with this girl? He says, I think she's a cerebral narcissist and they don't enjoy sex. They'd rather masturbate. And she told me she likes to masturbate. There's nothing wrong with liking masturbating, but they prefer masturbating over having sex, and fuck that. Anyway, she was like the girl that led me to your work and helped me take control of my emotional center, like the one you mentioned in your life. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. That woman, as much as I love her, she was a major fucking turning point. She was the first girl I ever got to experience real, true, deep attraction and love with, and phenomenal lovemaking. But at the end of the day, the passive-aggressiveness, the shitty communicating, everything being my fault. No fucking way, dude. Eventually, after 3 years of that, I just got fucking tired of it. I wouldn't do anything. If this girl reaches out, say, hey, well, you miss me? You want to see me? If she's 3 hours away, she needs to come see you. Let's make dinner together. Well, no sex. And if she pulls that, just say, I'm not interested. I was very clear about that. If lovemaking is out of the question, then we don't need to talk again. Dude, you handled everything fucking perfect, textbook. It's like you could fucking teach this class. I mean, that's fucking great, man. You followed everything to a T. I'm very proud of you. Good fucking job. Wait to hear from her. And if you ever do hear from her, make a date. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. And if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and following the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.